Hey everyone, what is going on? We are back. My name is Brian, and today we are taking a look at the newest Elijah Craig barrel proof batch for this year, A122. So thanks to my friend Joel, I got a sample of this guy. I still have yet to get a bottle of it myself locally. So far, I've heard some good positive things about that, specifically coming after the Elijah Craig barrel proofs from last year. Now, while I think 2021 overall wasn't necessarily my favorite showing, at the end of the year, I did do a blind of all three of them. And objectively speaking, these are still all really good pours. And as I'm kind of going through my notes for that blind specifically, my notes on past Elijah Craig barrel proof batches, the one thing I keep coming back to, which is maybe a word of encouragement to everybody, is that the flavor profiles I feel like I tend to come to in these, they hit on a lot of really similar flavor notes. Maybe the progression is different, maybe the intensity's different, but I think what we should go ahead and say up front, anyone who is interested in Elijah Craig barrel proof, you're probably gonna like this bottle, and the bang for the buck is still there. It's a 12-year-old barrel proof product from Heaven Hill that's usually got a really good flavor profile. People already know that. And we're in that $75 to $100 range depending on your market. Now that's a really good value. Some places, I think, even down in the $60 range for this bottle still. But let's go ahead and get all that aside and go ahead and talk about this pour. Maybe you guys can see some of the legs already moving on this glass. I've had it sitting in this glass, kind of just opening up for about 15 minutes or so. And what I love right away is that it jumps right into these notes of fresh oak. It has a little bit of the notes of tobacco. It has a freshly baked cookie note in there. It has some fruitiness, honestly. Kind of a juicy little quality to it. Perhaps a little bit of citrus, but I would say the main note that I get in here is just like a deep brown butter, brown sugar, caramel profile. It has a little bit of a grassiness that I've noticed, I think, in other Heaven Hill products before. And so this is one that kind of made me think back to B520, one that had a lot of really good flavor profiles to it, some good peanuttiness, like we noticed in Heaven Hill before. But honestly, I think that the B520 may be just a little drier on the nose compared to this A122, but the A122 is a touch softer. As should be expected, I think the proof point difference in these two is maybe 5. So it is a little bit lighter, but I think overall, if you like the creamy, peanut buttery Heaven Hill profile, but not in a hot, dry, peanutty sort of way, like maybe you'll run into in some of the older Heaven Hill products, the older William Heaven Hill. If you don't mind that slightly fruity, creamy peanut butteriness, you're gonna be right at home with the A122. Let's go ahead and go in for a palate taste. Man, it hits with juiciness right away. A little bit hot, quickly rolls off, especially as you get into your second sip, or if you're drinking something before this to get accustomed to it. But it has a really nice full flavor. Starts with some juiciness, starts with a little bit of that fruit, immediately peels back into layers of tobacco in that sweet oak. I feel like the oak is definitely noticeable in this one, but the profile right in the center is very clean. You have really clean sweetness of caramel and vanilla really prominently without immediately going to the bottle to compare. This is one that kind of reminds me of the William Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond. A lot of people that I know didn't really like the William Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond. They thought it was a little lacking, thought it was a little soft. At 100 proof, I see why they could say that. I still really liked it for the flavors that it had, and it had that nice creamy sweetness again with a good amount of oak. But this A122, man, it drinks so well. Elegant sweetness, creamy, almost like if you remember, if any of you have gone to Starbucks and on the top of their like frappuccinos, they have whipped cream and the caramel drizzle. This has sweetness like both the vanilla-y whipped cream profile and that caramel drizzle sauce. I can't dismiss that kind of pop of cherry, black cherry, maybe a little raspberry that hits right at the front, right before it transitions into a little bit of that grassiness. Then you get that big sweetness. The oak immediately runs into that, and that oak and tobacco kind of finish the sips. It has a good long linger. It's a buttery type mouthfeel. This is really solid. I think B520 seems to have maybe a little bit more oomph to it. It has maybe a little bit more spice, a little bit more depth to it overall as a pour. Maybe it's a little bit more darker toned. This one's definitely a more drinkable, slightly softer, maybe a slightly more rounded. Maybe that's the better way of putting it. A more rounded, drinkable version of B520. The only thing I feel like I could see some people saying, this is coming from somebody who tends to drink pours, maybe they have a touch more sweetness than they do spice. I think because of how I'm experiencing this pour, that some people might want a little bit more bite to it, a little bit more spice to it. There's definitely a little bit of balanced spice there trailing, but it doesn't really counter with as much spice to the amount of sweetness that it has. Now, I'm not saying it's overly sweet, but I do think it has more sweetness to it than it has spice. That long chocolate, caramel, oaky tobacco linger is fantastic. This is a really good bottle. All right, thanks so much everybody for tuning in. Again, kind of to sum this up, if you like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, but you kind of wish that you found some of the barrels that were a little more refined, maybe a little bit more polish, a little bit more drinkability to it, this leans in that direction, almost towards the direction of William Heavenhill, I guess, in a little bit of that refinement, according to my palate. I feel like you're gonna want something that's got that kind of caramel, vanilla, brown sugar profile, knowing it's not a humongous brown sugar bomb. I also feel like you have to like oak, because I definitely feel like that oak presence is very prominent on the palate. I don't think it's something that's really hidden in here. I think it's something that really is going to be accompanying the sip. If that sounds enjoyable to you, if you're a fan of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof in general, A122 might be one that you want to add to your collection. Thanks so much everybody for tuning in. I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if you've tried A122 down in the comments below. Let me know what your favorite batch of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof has been, whether it's back to the old label ones or any of the newer label ones. I've had a lot of various picks lately, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and I've come to really enjoy a lot of various profiles I've been able to find. So it's nice to kind of revisit a small batch when I've been drinking a lot of various profile Heaven Hills lately. But let me know if there's other picks, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof's picks that have dropped in your all's era that you guys have liked as well. I'd love to hear more about it in the comments. Thanks so much everybody for tuning in. If you all want more content, join us on Entry Proof Live. That's a stream that I do with Drew P. Whiskey, also here on YouTube on his channel Thursday nights. And we're doing blind flights. We're talking about our barrel picks, all sorts of things over there. It's a good time that we have over there. If I haven't said it already, jump down below, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I'd love to know that I'm continuing to bring things that you are interested in hearing about. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you all later.